you?
I'm doing good. Welcome to the almost weekly office
Yeah,
hours. Just at
yeah,
last.
yeah. I think like making it every 2 week will have like more content because
Yeah,
not
we
so
won't
much more.
we won't run out of stuff. All right, we'll make it for
Yeah.
the first and the third Thursdays. On my Thursday, you're hang on. Is it a Thursday for you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, excellent. It's Thursday for both of us. Let's go with the
Yeah.
first and third Thursdays.
Yeah.
So it makes it pretty much every 2 weeks. Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
And I was thinking that I could present some changes to the system very quickly. I don't want to go into details, so people will get familiar what's going on with the system. And then we can talk about your plugins, what you've did.
yeah, no,
If
that'd
you
be
could
cool.
share something. And I will just introduce very quickly how to write the destination plugin because I wrote one plugin for HubSpot, so I have like fresh impressions how to do it. So
So you've gone ahead and done the HubSpot one. Awesome.
yes, I've
Yeah.
done one because I needed one very urgently, and I said, okay, let's spend some time and write it. So I will just share how to do it. It's very easy. Like I don't know if you were doing some destination plugins or not. Were you doing
So
some destinations?
the one that my first plugin, that was a resource, and I was able to use that like a destination. I guess I was able to put the res, the resource into the automation, and then I was
Mm-hmm.
able to use that resource sort of like a
Mm-hmm.
native plugin. So is
Mm-hmm.
that the same as a destination or not? It's not, is it?
Yeah, the plugin I usually call that something that you use inside workflow, and the destination is like also destination plugin is like something that you define a destination and you send the data to that destination. So and I will show how I did it, and this is quite easy, and it will not take much time. I would not like to have like a very long meetings, so because people usually get bored.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, okay. So well, maybe I'll start with the presentation. What's going on with the system? Because we've just made a release candidate first, the first release candidate for the next version. And I encourage everybody just to try it, see what's going on. Beside the changes that are inside the system, how the data is stored, we also have changes in the graphical user interface. And I think most people like it because after I've just cleared all the issues on the back end, we can work on the front end and we can see the changes. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me know if you see the
Not yet. Not yet.
system.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Okay, so currently we're working on release candidate 2, which will have more features available in the front end because there were like a lot of changes in the back end, and now we can just speed up the development on the front end and see what actually has been changed. So there are like 2 changes. One change that is relevant to the open source version, and the other one that is relevant to the commercial version. I will start with commercial version very quickly, and then go to the open source. So in the commercial version, there will be new feature called subscriptions. Subscription is like a topic inside your company, a subscription topic that your company may be interested in. So for example, in my case, it would be like, I would be interested in creating a list of people that subscribe, that I would like to create a list of people that would be notified when there is a new version released of Tracardi. So I would create a subscription called, I don't know, upgrades or about new releases. And that subscription will allow me to assign subscribe people who are interested in new releases. And that for that, there will be like a new plugin in the workflow. There will be like a new endpoint. So whenever you call that endpoint, that person would be subscribed to this topic new releases. And then when the time for the new release come, I can trigger this subscription, and everybody who is subscribed will be notified. Actually, we'll have a new event, and that event can be used in a workflow so that they get notification, or it can be used in a destination, so there will be like the data sent somewhere else. And this can be used in multiple scenarios, like in the scenario that I've just described, but there are like scenarios when you would like to inform people if the system is down, for example, or you would like to inform a group of people of something that is happening in your company. So this will, triggering this subscription will just populate the events throughout all the profiles that subscribe to this topic. And this is a commercial version of Tracardi. This unfortunately will not be available in the open source. Another thing is the audience. So you will be able to create an audience from the profiles that you've collected in Tracardi. Now we have segmentations, but audience is something like segmentation, but a bit different. Actually, it's like a logic that queries your database and retrieves all the profiles that have some conditions, for example. So when we create an audience, we can define who should be in that audience. So, for example, I would like to create an audience that has all the profiles that ordered something, for example, their order completed. The price of the order was bigger than 100. And I also would like to be sure that some of all that big orders, bigger than 100, is the price, sum of price of all the orders is, okay, sum of price. And I would like to have the sum of price bigger than 1,000. What it means, I'm creating an audience that have completed an order that was bigger than 100, but all the orders that they've made are bigger than 1,000. And with that audience, I will be able to activate them. So actually, I will have like a group of people, group of customers that meet this condition, and then I will be able to activate them and send this data, for example, to some external system, or send them to Google, or send them to Facebook, for example. And this feature is particularly hard because we don't have joins in our database in Elasticsearch, and I'm basically writing joins for the Elasticsearch database, and this is quite hard, especially when you compute like millions of billions of events. So it has to be performant and be able to join data from different sources. And of course, you can like add many conditions in here and filter the customers the way you want. Okay, and these are basically commercial features. And now we have the open source features that will be in the new release. One of the features that I really like is that right now in the automation, we will be able to commit the workflow to the GitHub. We can give this workflow a name and give some message, and all the changes to that workflow will be committed to GitHub. And also, I'm going to add the ability to load the workflows from the GitHub. So now everything will be staged in the GitHub repository. This one I really like. We've discussed about it, that it would be just great to have it, and I found a way to do it. So the next release will have at least the commit, and then probably will be able to pull some version from GitHub as well. Okay, and another thing is, and of course, this change will require that we'll have like another tab of configuration where we will define where is my GitHub account. So I will have to define where I would like to store my workflows. Okay, and another thing is that I've redone the tests. I was not very happy with the tests that were in the system. Most people used external tools to write some tests that will send data to Tracardi, like events. So right now it's all redone. So we can select some event source where we would like to send the event, some event type, also some session ID and profile ID, and we can see how the request is built. So right now, if anybody would like to integrate with Tracardi and use some API calls, you can see how the API call should look like. It should be a post to the truck endpoint with this data filled in. Or for example, I would like to have like a basket view. I can get the predefined property, so it's already populated here. If I would like to pass some context data, then you can see how the context data should look like, where you send the browser name, etc., where you can send location, etc. And this is the preview of the request. And then when you make a response, which actually did not pass because I did not select the event source, you will see the response as well. So let's give it a test again. Some event type, okay. Request, and there's your response. And this type of a test you can save, like test 1, and it will be saved every time you would like to get it and try it again. Everything is saved. So this way you won't have to type everything again whenever you want to repeat the tests. And this is basically it. I would like to release the second candidate within, I guess, max 2 weeks. So this should be available in the next release.
So destinations, let's have a look at that.
Yes, and I've coded some new destination. It's a destination for HubSpot, and I would like to share with you how to code destinations, because basically it's not very hard, and destination solves a lot of problems that we have when we build workflows. And especially in my case, I wanted all the emails that arrive at Tracardi webpage to be also in a HubSpot, and I didn't want to go through all the events that come, and I wouldn't like to have like a lot of workflows that copy the data in the workflow. I wanted to create a destination saying that whenever there is a change in the profile, and that profile has an email, please just send it to HubSpot. Okay, and how I did it. So destination is when we write destination, we need a resource. Resources are defined in the system. So whenever you go to service setup resources, you see all the resources. You can create your own resource. Resource is just a type of configuration that tells what data we will use to connect to some external system. So, for example, this resource is an API endpoint, and it says, okay, this kind of information we would probably need to connect to the API. That would be a URL, maybe some proxy, some maybe username, maybe some headers. But if you would like to use this resource also as a destination, so the profile can be sent to some API endpoint, then you must add this key. And this key must fill this object destination data, where you defined where is the package. This is basically a folder where you keep the class that will send the that will compute this data, and also some configuration values, like some initial values for the API endpoint. It would be probably some method you would like to use to send data, maybe some headers, maybe some cookies. And I've created such a destination for HubSpot. Let me just go, and here's the destination. To connect to HubSpot, I need just a token. That token will be used to connect to the HubSpot API. And I also created a destination class that is located here. And it does not have any initial configuration. I don't need that. And I also marked it that this is not for a professional version. This is an open source destination connector. And where do I find my connector? The connector is in a process engine destination HubSpot connector file. So let's go there. That one, the process engine destination HubSpot connector. Okay. Let's fold some of the things that we have here. And just concentrate only on the things that are most important. The methods static with underscore are private method, meaning that they are not used inside. They're actually used when we use this class, but the most important things are here in these two methods that are public, and they are used when the destination is triggered. So this one is used when the profile has changed and we would like to dispatch this profile data to some external system. And this one is used when we would like to dispatch an information about profile or event whenever there is some event coming into the system. So let's go into the system and see where we have destinations. So there's outbound traffic, and we create new destination. So here you define, here's your destination. So when I create a resource, new resource, that is a HubSpot resource. You can see this is my configuration, my token. And I go to outbound traffic. This destination is available because I've marked that this resource is also available as a destination. Okay, and then here you decide whether you would like to send this to this destination, the data, only when the profile changed, or with every event. So we can then define from what source the event comes and what is the event. So in this case, this method will be called dispatch event, and you have all the data that you need. You have profile that is connected to that event. You have session and you have event. So all the objects that are necessary are here, and there's also data, and data is whatever you type here. We don't need any data here. So for this type of connection, we don't need any data, but for some destinations we may need some additional data that can be like I don't know, we would like to reshape some profile data, for example, and we can do it. Here. And this method is called whenever you've marked that you would like to have a destination called when the profile changes. So in this case, we don't have an event in a delivered object. And here you just type whatever logic you need. That can be a API call or basically 99% of the integrations are just API calls. So you'll probably do an API call here, but you need an access to your resource, because in the resource you have defined the token which will allow you to authenticate to the GitHub. So let's go and see how I did it. So first thing, I just prepared the payload I would like to send to HubSpot. So I've passed my profile and data, and inside this this method, I've just created a payload that is just copies data from my profile, because this is the data I would like to send to HubSpot. There's also some other data that I need to test if I can send to HubSpot. And this is actually a mapping, because this name inside HubSpot is a place where they store email, phone, last name, first name, and this comes from the documentation of HubSpot. Okay, and once I have created the payload, what I would like to send, there are some logging information that's not important. I would like to load an integration ID. Why I need that? Because whenever I wouldn't like to send the data to HubSpot every time somebody updates their email, because I would end up with the duplicated emails in HubSpot. So I would like to load an integration ID that it's stored inside Tracardi, and find out if there is an integration ID. It means the data was already sent to HubSpot. So you can use, this is a built-in method, load integration ID. You can see where it's located. It's in Tracardi service integration ID, where you pass the profile ID and the name of the integration. I've named my integration HubSpot. And it will automatically just find the place where it will store the integration ID, etc. And you don't have to worry about it. So if there is no integration ID, I would like to add a contact to HubSpot, and this is done by sending some data to the API. But what is most important, I think, maybe I can find where I retrieved, because I wouldn't like to go inside the details of implementation, how to connect to HubSpot, because each system is different, and actually you can you may do it differently than I did it. So this is the way where I put the contact. But let me just go and see if I can find the way. Yes, this is the way. So whenever you would like to get the credentials from Tracardi, you use this method, get credentials, and in here you will get the dictionary with the token that is defined in the system. If your resource needs some API key, token, something else, everything will be in here in this variable. So you can see that I got that credential, and then I just retrieve the token. If the token is not available, I will get none. And here I retrieve the information about the token, and then I use some HubSpot client that helps me connect to HubSpot and send the data. So let's go back. So this one just connects to the API and sends the data. Yes, and then we have this integration IDs, that are returned from the. Oh no, this one just returns that the contact was added. If the integration ID already is already there, then we can use this HubSpot ID just to this time it will oh, it checks if it's available. If not, it adds that contact. If not, it updates the contact. And this time I'm just passing the integration ID that I've saved when the contact was added. And basically, this is it. This is some implementation I did. But the most important thing is that making a destination is very easy. It just just need to fill this method. You need to know how to retrieve your credentials, and this is how you do it. Once you have your credentials, you can contact your external system in whatever way you want. And most of the time, it will be just API call, and that's it. You don't have to do anything. There is no like complicated logic behind this. You can test this just by creating a new connector and logging some data and seeing if it works, and then proceed from that by sending the data through the API. And this is it. This is just a simple explanation how to create destinations.
That's it's not bad. I haven't started using destinations yet at all, so that was good for me to see that in practice as well.
Yeah, it's even easier than if you wrote a plugin for workflow. Workflow is much more complicated, and the destination is very simple. Just simple one or two methods regarding if you would like to use it when the profile changes or the event comes. And basically, notice that, for example, if you would like to use some other automation system like Zapier or N8N, if you write a connector for N8N, for example, because this is an open source automation platform, you just write a simple API call in that destination, and you can use basically any automation system. So you can use Zapier, and everything will be processed by Zapier.
Yeah, it's just passing it in. I guess in the destination there was some mapping. So for each type of destination, it's important to work out what that mapping needs to be between the profile and the external API. But
yeah, you can either do it. You can either do it inside the. I've just hard coded it into my destination plugin.
Yep.
But there is this place where I showed you this data, and inside this data you can externally map the profile. So you can just say, this is the way I would like to send the data outside, and you define it in the graphical user interface. So you can do it both ways.
is I'm just sharing my screen. I was sort of following on along one of my accounts. But is this where you're talking about? So there's a destination there. Is
Yes.
Yep. So you can put the mapping there.
Yeah, you can see the mapping, and then you, for example, type like, I don't know, first name, and then you type profile at, and from where you would like this data to be copied.
Yep.
Yeah.
So first name would be I'll just do it. First name. So that'd be on the API. That'd be the endpoint, say for HubSpot.
Yes.
And then we'd have our I guess
quote profile
at whatever first name is.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and then you get it. If you notice that in that endpoint, you have like data, profile, session, and event. And data is this is the data. So you'll
Yep.
get the data, the mapped data. So whenever, however you would like to map the data to be sent out, so yeah, by the destination, you can do it here, or either if you are very sure that you know that there's like strict mapping and there's no other way to do it. Yes, you can hard code it into your destination, and maybe some custom mapping can be done here.
Sure. So, so, so in this case, I think I've got a resource set up for Ghost, but
Hmm.
the resource I've got set up for Ghost, I'd have to have the right sort of resource set up to map to an
Hmm.
API endpoint that would allow for a change to be made to that system.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, if you have like yeah, this is like this destination settings. You can also set it here. Uh, mm, because when you create a resource, in the resource you define all the required data to connect to that resource. So this data will be available in your destination plugin.
yep.
So once you did it, you will have it in the destination plugin.
I'm just
And
wondering if I go into resources, so if I, it just an API actually would probably do
yeah,
it, wouldn't it? API endpoint. So I could
hmm
say, I could actually go and say hub spot,
hmm
and let's not say hurt spot,
yeah,
hub spot.
I have the same issue. I've just
Come on, type.
unlearned how to type.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
could, that'll do. That'll have to do.
yeah.
So I'm not going to configure it at all, but I could then go into, and I'm learning here, and this isn't quite what you're talking about, but
Out outbound.
outbound traffic,
Yeah.
new destination. So we'll call it hub spot. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the destination it's going to use is the HubSpot
Spot.
destination we
Mm-hmm.
created before, which will be a post or whatever it's configured to be,
Mm-hmm.
and then this will be the mapping that we are talking about before. So
Yes.
the key is the field on the HubSpot API. So
Yeah,
go
they
to
have like a first name, so they say,
yeah,
okay, if you would like to in their documentation, they say if you would like to save the first name of your contact, just
yeah,
send me a first name key and then the first name.
yep.
Okay.
So yeah, the value
Yeah.
is the value that
And
we
could you please just go into display advanced configuration?
sure can.
Yes. And you can see that if you looked in the code, there is
Cool.
when you define the mm, resource, there are like two things you define. One thing is the required data to connect to the resource, and there is I call it an init data, but this is basically a data that changes with every execution of the resource. And this is this configuration. So you have like a URL that is static because it's the API URL is always the same, but the but the method, the headers, actually the endpoint, actually you could change. Yes, every time you execute the. So you have one resource, but there is like a additional configuration for that resource.
So if you're calculating your token on the request and it's got a lifetime, maybe you'll hard code that because you couldn't do it through here because it's essentially just coding in values. So yeah, I can sort of see the value for hard coding as well. Cool, that's
Yeah,
nice. Stop sharing.
yeah, and this all just ends up in one method call that you fill, and when you fill it, you have your data sent to your destination.
Yep. So,
And this is very nice because in the workflow you have to just workflows are triggered by every event. Okay, but there are cases where you don't want to go in every event and then write code a workflow that sends somewhere the data. But the destinations can be called when the profile changes. And you just have like one destination. You said my profile changed. I want some data to be somewhere else. Just do it. And there's like one place, and you just cover a lot of use cases.
It's like a callback where it
Yeah,
changes. Just do this thing that I need to do instead of, like you say, having to code it
yeah,
everywhere. Hey, oh, that's nice. That's nice. I'm
yeah,
definitely still learning.
yeah. And this destinations, I will probably add more triggers to destination. But right now, the destination is on profile change and on event.
Yeah,
But there will be some triggers like on visit end, for example. The visit ended, and then the callback can be triggered. And maybe, for example, on subscription. Okay, somebody subscribed, then so there are like a lot of triggers that can be added there, and just simplifies. But I would like the workflow to be like a last resource when you go and do like logic that is very complicated, and you can't just configure it. But when you configure it, it's just much easier.
yeah. Where have I got to? So I've got a plug-in just about done for Ghost. I'm just testing that at this end. A low volume site, and I'll move it onto a higher volume site soon. But I'm just getting a sense of how it goes. I've got a couple of issues, and I know I've got with it, so I'll need to be asking you some questions about. It's
Hmm.
more about the UI
Hmm.
interface. I just want to. Some other things aren't just coming together quite the way they should, so I just want to check in with you on those and get
Hmm.
this. It's just part of the configuration for it, so it's not quite ready, but it will be ready soon.
Hmm.
I'm sure of that. Also looking at the destination, there, I'm tempted to go in there and also set up a destination for it as well.
Hmm.
I've been just whilst I've been working through that, and been feel like I'd love a JavaScript. I think you've said it's actually in the commercial version, not the open source at
Hmm.
one stage. But I'd actually love a JavaScript function that I could just write and plonk in to do things. I feel like I'm going to end up with a lot of plugins to do this, that, and the next thing, which is
Hmm.
okay. But yeah, it's be nice just to be able to just create a function, just pass things to it as a JavaScript. Is that hard? Is that possible? Or is it, that is in the commercial version?
I was well, yes, and
Yep.
actually, I will because I've talked with some people on Slack, and they need it in their like open source version, and I probably will move it to open source version. And but this is something else, I think, because this JavaScript function is injected into the web page. This is what you mean by JavaScript function, right? Or
Uh,
you mean just
Not quite.
uh,
But just like to do
what-
functional
is
work on
the-
objects. Yeah.
hmm?
I just like to do functional things with objects. So say
Okay,
return an ordered list based on some criteria. Um, and
okay. So you'd rather think not the JavaScript function that is injected into the web page, but the JavaScript function that is executed inside the workflow, for example,
that's
right?
correct. Think of embedding Node.js underscore, having a library like that where you
Hmm.
could just use sort of those mapping functions
Hmm.
to do things with. That's that style
Yes,
of.
I was actually thinking about it because you could do different things. You can just have like a plugin that runs a Python code, or plugin that but the Python code you just type in the graphical user interface. You don't use anything else. Or you can use the JavaScript
So
just to process the data.
could
And I
equally,
even found
sorry, I was going to say could equally be Python. It doesn't have to be Node or JavaScript. It's just been able to load a configuration in, load some script in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, this is possible. This is possible. I don't know if it's possible to run a JavaScript inside Python. I was looking for some libraries for that, and I think I even found one, but I didn't test it. But if there is like a library for running JavaScript inside Python, this is perfectly available just to do it.
Then
And
for my use case, I'm quite happy with Python as well. So
mhm.
but that would mean evaluate the Python inside the.
Yeah, probably yes.
Yeah.
You have to evolve the string that is Python code.
Yeah. So buyer beware. Make sure you don't put garbage in there.
But if you think about it more, if you can attach a volume, and inside that volume there will be like files with Python,
Oh yes.
then your plugin will need only a package and a name of the function, and then you can run it inside the workflow. Just make sure that the interface is like to that function is very clear. This is basically how the destinations work, but it's inside Tracardi. You just create a clear interface, what goes in and what goes out, and then you only define the package, so the location of the file and the name of the function, and you can run it with 3 lines of code.
Sure.
So
I, 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 I might go ahead and do that plugin. It'll just be called custom plugin. It'll run
mhm,
some a volume, a file based in a volume.
mhm.
So I'll go ahead and create that because I'm just feeling as though I can sense what I'm about to do is just create a whole lot of plugins, which is going to just split the namespace really. Have
Mhm.
all sorts of things in there. They'll be just custom for this, that, and the next thing. So yeah, custom plugin that'll allow you to load up some Python script. Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
ahead and get that done.
yeah. Because this is very
Very
easy to do,
straightforward.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
and
All right,
and then you have like an open way to do whatever you want.
good chat. Cool. All right, then I guess we said it'd be quick, and we say it's going to be quick every time. It's been
Yeah.
45 minutes. All right,
Yeah.
then. So we're going to catch up. So it'll be the first week of next month. So our next
Mhm.
office hours will be in March. March, the first Thursday of March. Cool.